Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. I'll try that again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Over time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
There you go. One brother we can count on.
Gotcha.
So really happy to be here. Really thankful to the MSA for inviting me here today. I actually got a gift in the mail this morning, randomly. I was like, where did this come from? It was this random Amazon package. I'm only mentioning this because it's relevant, but my wife and I are actually expecting in a month from now. So we had, this, they do this thing, it's a baby registry, you like find your stuff and things like that. So someone found that, somehow figured it out, and got us something from there. So thanks for that. Just a random thing. It's something random that happened this morning, and I'd like to thank you guys for that. Yeah. So the topic I was told to speak about was about the unseen, and things that we cannot see. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, I can't see my child that's to be, inshallah, but big dua that he's healthy, inshallah, and that everything goes well. The second thing I can think of is this fast. So how many of you were actually able to fast today? How many of you were actually able to fast? Okay, got some hands, alhamdulillah, great. Even if you were not able to, we have, the days of fasting, Ashura are coming up, so you can fast Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in order to meet those requirements to fast 2 of those 3 days, right? And so when you fast, the great, amazing thing about fasting is that when it comes to other types of worship, you're doing it outwardly, other people might see you doing it, but fasting by its very nature is something unseen. It's something that you cannot actually see the person fasting, right? It's a state of yourself. It's an inner state of mind that you have, that you're fasting today, right? That means, the very famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that if someone is trying to make you angry or someone is getting you angry, then you have to say that, I'm fasting. Inni sa'im, I'm fasting. And you cannot get angry at that point, right? So fasting is a state of mind, and no one actually knows that you're fasting, right? So if you look back at Ramadan, if your parents, they can't be watching you at all times, right? They can't be seeing at all times. You could be going into the closet, or I could be fasting, go into the closet, eat something real quick, and no one knows. The only person that knows that I'm truly fasting is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only person that truly knows I'm fasting is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anyway, I wanted to talk today specifically about a person that we believe in but that we do not see. And that person is none other than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Say sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whenever his name is mentioned, billions of people all around the world, they say sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? This amazing person who taught us not only how to be good people, because everyone can claim that they are good people. But everyone claims that I'm a good person. I don't hurt anybody. So literally all it takes to be a good person is just don't hurt anybody else and do your own thing and you're a good person. But the Prophet ﷺ, he taught us to be more than that. He taught us to be not just normal people, but actually to become great people. In the Quran, the example I always like to give of this is the example of وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصًا. You have these people who have nothing. They have so very little, yet they are still willing to give. They have so little, yet they are still willing to give. That is what it takes to be a great person. To have nothing, yet being willing to give everything away. Subhanallah. Where are we when it comes to that? When it comes to those great people? You have these people, subhanAllah, the people around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can know how great a person is by knowing the people around him. Right? You can know how great a person is by knowing the people around that person. And you realize that when the Prophet ﷺ, he said, I'm moving to Medina, his companions, his followers, what did they do? They left everything. They left everything. They left everything to go to Medina with him. SubhanAllah. And when they got there, they met these people of Medina, the Ansar. The Ansar, you might have heard some people, their last name is Ansari because they have lineage to the Ansar. Right? The Ansar they weren't known as the Ansar at first. They became known as the Ansar because Ansar means the helpers. And what that meant was that when the people of Mecca, they came to Medina and they migrated to Medina, then the people of Medina, what they actually did was they hosted the people of Mecca. And they said, look, here's my wealth. I'm going to divide it in half, and I'm going to give half of it to you. And if you want more, you can take more. And these were not people that were super rich. It wasn't like they had $1 million in the bank, and they're just cutting it in half and giving the rest. No. These were people that could barely clothe themselves, barely feed themselves, and they're giving half of what they own away in order to host the people of Mecca. And so from that you just see, just based on those people around the Messenger ﷺ, what a great human being he was. How he motivated people. How he was able to inspire a generation. Not only that, but that generation inspired all the generations until this day, subhanAllah. And so it's really important that we study his life. It's really important that we study his life and we study the life of those people around him. So one of the very important people around him was Abu Bakr. We might have heard the name of Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was the one who accompanied the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and protected him as much as he possibly humanly could on the way from Mecca to Medina. And of course was his companion for so many years. Then you had Umar. Umar was the one who actually said, I'm on my way to kill the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. But at the moment that he met the Prophet ﷺ, he became a believer, subhanAllah. When he actually eventually got to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he was a believer. Amazing. You see Uthman. Uthman, the Prophet ﷺ respected Uthman so much so. You know how sometimes you might be sitting a little bit relaxed, and then somebody that you really respect walks into the room. What happens? You kind of get up and you want to look respectable to that person. And subhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ, he had so much respect for Uthman that when Uthman used to walk into the room, the Prophet ﷺ would just kind of change his posture, subhanAllah, for Uthman. That's how much respect he had for his own companion. And you had, of course, another very important companion, Ali. And Ali was the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, his son-in-law, as well as the father of his grandchildren, and of the lineage and of the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ. So you have these four amazing people who the Prophet loved dearly, who loved the Prophet ﷺ dearly. And they're all gathering with the Prophet ﷺ one day. And one day the Prophet ﷺ, he looks like he's thinking deeply. He looks like he's pondering, he's being very reflective. He's really just focused on something. And so his companions, they ask him, Ya Rasulullah, what's up? O Messenger of Allah, what's up? What's going on? And he says, Ashtaqu ila ikhwani. وَدِدْتُ أَنْ أَلْتَقِي بِإِخْوَانِ. I wish I could meet my brothers. I wish I could meet my brothers. And his companions are wondering. They're like, are we not your brothers? أَوَلَسْنَا إِخْوَانِ. And they say to him, are we not your brothers? Are we not your brothers that you're talking about? Are we not with you? You're meeting us. And they're wondering, what's going on? Why is he saying this? And he says, Antum ashabi. You are my companions. You are the generation amongst whom I live. But ikhwani, my brothers and sisters, الَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِن بَعْدِي, are those who will come after me. وَآمَنُوا بِي, and they will believe in me. وَلَمْ يَرَوْنِي, even though they haven't ever seen me. And so he's talking about us. He's talking about you and I. And he's saying, that those are my brothers and sisters that I wish I could see. That I wish I could see right now. And what he's actually talking about, he's saying that there will come a day where we will meet him, inshallah. But that time isn't now. That's after our deaths, after we all pass through this very, very short life of ours, this very temporary life of ours. And if we make it to Jannah, or inshallah we do make it to Jannah, say inshallah, say Ameen. When we get there, then that is when we get to see the Prophet ﷺ. And we get to hang out with him. I actually remember when Muhammad Sayyid was a student, the Dream program at Bayyinah. So I arranged this thing where the students would give reminders after Salah. So Brother Muhammad, he actually gave a very unique reminder. He told a story about the companions, but he changed their words. Na'udhu billah. He changed their words. Basically, when he was translating, we taught him Arabic, so he's like, okay, I'm going to kind of get flexible with the translation, use my own poetic license with the translation here. And the way he starts out is, and then Abu Bakr was like, yo. And the Prophet ﷺ was like, yo. Now we're all looking at each other like, what is this guy doing? It was a very enjoyable reminder. That's all I remember from it. Muhammad Sayyid going up there and talking about the companions. And saying the Arabic was very good, but then the English was kind of like, yo, what's up? So it was great. Thanks for that. Thank you. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, the Prophet ﷺ. So we are those brothers and sisters that he, subhanAllah, wants to see. And on the Day of Judgment, inshallah, we are going to see him. And we actually are going to be able to say to the Prophet ﷺ, yo, what's up? Right? We're actually going to be able to do that, subhanAllah. That's actually going to be possible. And it was very beautiful, the verses that the brother, he recited just now. Amazing, right? That the people of good, the people that did good deeds, they will be taken, right? Wasiqa, they will be taken to, it's like this whole image is being painted that they will be taken to Jannah. And the doors will be, the gates of Jannah will be open for them. وَفُتِحَتْ أَبَوَابُهَا. And the gates of Jannah will be open for them, subhanAllah. And that's inshallah, that's going to be us. We're going to do that. We're going to be taken to the gates of Jannah. And the gates of Jannah will open. وَقَالَ لَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا. And the gatekeepers of Jannah, they will say to those people that are coming, inshallah, may Allah make us amongst them. The gatekeepers will say, Salamun alaykum. Peace be unto you. Peace be upon you. Just like how we say salam to each other today, that's what the angels will say to us on that day. On that day when we are welcomed into them. And then the camera kind of zooms out. And it says that you will see the angels. وَتَرَى الْمَلَائِكَةَ حَافِينَ. And you will see the angels surrounding the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you will see the angels, subhanAllah, surrounding the throne of Allah. And that's the image that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala paints for us. That's the welcoming party that you get. You get to see the prophets alayhimu salam. And so all this time you spent, right, believing in something that you cannot see, something that is beyond your human senses. There's a lot of people nowadays, they say, well, I don't believe because I can't see, because I can't touch, because I can't hear. But the thing is that our human senses and abilities are actually very limited. So it's not actually possible for us to capture that, to capture the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using our limited senses, right? Using our limited abilities. Right? We can barely look at the stars above us. Barely, just barely we can see. Right? Using telescopes, we can barely see what's out there. Right? And so our faculties are so limited. But on that day, all will be revealed. On that day, we'll be given the ability to see what all these years we spent not being able to see. And then finally, I'd like to leave you guys with verses of Quran. During the Prophet ﷺ's life, when he first received the revelation, when the Prophet ﷺ first received the revelation, there came a time period very early on, where the Prophet ﷺ, he actually stopped receiving revelation for a little period of time, for several months. And this was a period where the Prophet ﷺ, people were telling him, your Lord has abandoned you. That spirit, that jinn or whatever it was that was afflicting you, that thing that you thought you had coming to you, it's gone now, it's abandoned you. Now go back to your old ways and go back to what you were doing. Go back to your family and stop all this craziness that you're talking about, one God, etc., etc. Right? And that is when the verses of Surah Al-Duha were revealed. You might have heard this surah before. It's a short surah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى. And so in this surah, Allah swears by the break of dawn. Now why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why does He swear by the break of dawn? He swears by what is the break of dawn? What does it represent? What does it represent? Obviously we live in areas where there's lots of light, there's lots of street lights, etc. But have you ever been in an area where it's very dark, where there is no light, and it's night, and you're waiting for that day to break? Or you're waiting, you just feel like you're surrounded in darkness, and you're waiting for that sun to rise so that you can have light again. And so that is why here Allah, He swears by the break of dawn. And He says that I swear by that. That just how there are periods of life that are dark, there are also periods of life that are full of light. وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord has not abandoned you. Your Lord has not abandoned you. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. And don't worry, Ya Rasulullah. Don't worry, O Prophet. Don't worry. The akhirah, the next life is better for you than this one. And Allah will give you so much more. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ. Your Lord, your Master will give you so much that there's no way you won't be satisfied. There's no way that's possible. Yu'tika from ata, meaning gift and reward that you do not even deserve. That you didn't, like your deeds were till here, and Allah is giving you this much. Allah is giving you 10 times that, 100 times that, thousands more than that. Your deeds were just few. But Allah will reward you relentlessly. Why? Because you believed. And because you believed in something that you could not see. But you believed. You followed your natural instinct to believe. And you believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you did what was right. And you were not just a good person. Right? Because like I said, nowadays being a good person just means you don't hurt anybody else. You weren't just a good person. You were a great human being. You followed the way of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us to study the life of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Say Ameen. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us amongst those who learns about the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward everyone in this gathering. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward the organizers that have organized this gathering. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward the brother who was running around organizing the food for us. And so finally I'd like to just give a shout out to the MSA and to all the people who came here. I know it's not always easy to, especially a Saturday, it's not always easy to come all the way back to campus for whatever it is for something like this. And so you guys, mashallah, are holding strong onto this. And this is really great being a part of the MSA. Get active, be a part of the MSA, and ask him and say, help the guy out. He's like doing all the announcements and doing everything. I'm sure he has a team helping him as well. But help the guy out and get involved, inshallah. I'm sure that you guys will be very successful, inshallah. And so finally, again, thank you for the gift that you guys gave me this morning. And I'm really happy to be here. Really happy to see you all. Before I speak, I always get really nervous, like, what if this goes wrong or that goes wrong? What if I'm like super late, or something like that? But as soon as I see the faces of Muslim brothers and sisters, it just changes everything. It just changes everything. As soon as you see the faces of your fellow believers, male, female, then you feel this contentment and this satisfaction that you can't get anywhere else. As soon as you see somebody who you have never seen in your life, that you do not know at all, and you say Assalamu alaikum to them, and they say Wa alaikum assalam, it's amazing. Right? This is amazing. How is this possible? You know, you're at the airport, I travel a lot, I see people in the airports, and you know, they'll say salam, and I'll say wa alaikum assalam. Just two complete strangers, and we're sending peace to each other. And in that same way, I ask Allah that, you know, when that time comes in Jannah, that we are able to say salam to the angels, to the prophets, and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So with that said, jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.